Hey, hi everyone. Welcome to Isha Training Solutions. We'll wait for 2 more minutes for other learners to join and then we'll start our discussion. 2 minutes we'll wait and then we'll start our discussion, guys. Thanks for joining. We'll wait for 2 more minutes and then we'll start our discussion. Thank you. Once again, welcome everyone. Welcome to Isha Training Solutions. Hope my voice is audible for everyone. My screen is also visible for everyone. So in our yesterday's session, we basically discussed about life cycle, performance testing, life cycle. In that, we discussed about NFR gathering means what? Non-functional requirement gathering. Because any activity that we are doing, requirement gathering is the first step. Be it like development activity or software testing activity or performance testing activity. First step is actually requirement gathering. Here in performance testing, we are mentioning that as non-functional requirement gathering. Okay, non-functional requirement gathering. So informations related to your user load, information related to your throughput, information that are related to your response time details, infrastructure details, all these are actually comes under non-functional requirement gathering. Once the non-functional requirement gathering is done, we have to prepare a test plan document, which is procedurally you have to do it because later point of time nobody should come and say like I asked a different thing and you delivered different things, right? So planning is important. Any activity that you are doing, planning is also important because in a granular level you should understand what we are going to perform. Test plan document will have the basic details like your test types, your approach, when you are going to start it, when you are going to end it, how many people they are going to do it, what tool that you are going to use it. All granular level informations will be there in the test plan document. Okay. Once the plan document is ready, then we have to do the designing of our script. Test design is nothing but we are going to do Script preparation. Script preparation means what? Example, we are identifying the critical business flow. Okay, we are identifying a critical business flow. For that flow, we have to prepare a script. Okay, maybe we are using LoadRunner, Jmeter, NeoLoad, any tool. Script preparation we are doing. So basically, script preparation means what? We are going to capture the traffic. Capture the traffic. Don't think like script preparation means we have to write something. No, it is not like that. In performance testing tool, what we are doing, we are using a concept called recording. We are using a concept called recording. So whatever we are doing it in the browser, whatever we are doing it in the browser. So you think about it like whenever normally what is happening, we are creating a traffic from the browser. That traffic will go to server. Server will process the request and then you will get back the response. That is a usual procedure, right? Usual procedure, what is happening? You are creating a traffic, which is a request. Request goes to the server. Server will process the request and then server will give back the response. That response will come to browser again. So which means this is a sequence of activity, request and response. We are sending the request, server is giving back the response. Okay, we are sending the request, server is giving back the response. So in this case, we are talking about manual things, right? Manually, we are launching the browser, and then we are sending the request and server is actually processing the request and then we are getting back the response like that. So the same activity we will capture it through performance testing tool. Performance testing tool. So performance testing tool like Jmeter, LoadRunner, NeoLoad, we are going to use it. So this tool will capture the traffic between your browser and the server. Between your browser and the server, whatever the communication that is actually happening, right? That communication is actually captured by the performance testing tool. We are going to use recording feature. Recording. We are going to use recording feature and we are going to capture the traffic between your browser and the server. That is how traffic sniffing or traffic capture we are trying to do it. So that example, if I am clicking a button for login, the tool will capture the traffic, whatever the communication is happening whenever you are clicking a login button. Example, 3 HTTP calls or 4 HTTP calls that are triggered when you are clicking the login button means the performance testing tool will capture those calls. Okay, that is how recording feature is available in the performance testing tool. Don't worry, in our upcoming section, we are going to do that. But right now, I'm giving the high level understanding. Recording feature we are going to use it. Recording feature we are going to use it. Okay, once the traffic is actually captured, okay, recording feature we are using and we are capturing the traffic, right? So once that is actually done, what we are doing? Any question guys till now?
No. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, sorry guys. So once the recording is actually done, what we will do, that is a script, right? I mean, you are capturing the traffic between your browser and the server. Script is actually captured. So that script has to mimic like a real user behavior. Okay, has to, because it is just a traffic that you captured. Okay, that script has to mimic like a real user means we have to do certain small activities in the script. Okay, that they call that as parameterization, parameterization and Correlation. These two are very important, guys. Okay. In performance testing world, if you are saying I'm doing scripting activity, the major activity that you are doing is parameterization and correlation in your script. Okay, what is parameterization? What is correlation? Parameterization is nothing but handling the static value, in your script, handling the static value in your script. That is actually called as parameterization. What is the static value? Static value in our script means what? Your login credentials. Example, your login credentials is a static value because you are hard coding, right? You are entering your login credentials, your username, your password. And similarly, whatever the input value that you are giving it in the script, I mean during recording, I'm saying you are recording a flow, that time whatever the input value that you are giving it in the script, that is having control. Okay, you have the control over it. You can modify the value, right? That is actually okay, you have the control over it, right? So that is actually parameterization means what? Handling the static value, handling the static value. Okay, handling the static value. The static value, simple example is your login credentials, or you are giving any you are entering any input values like telephone number, pin number, country code, card number, something like that. You are giving the input where you have the control over it, right? So that is actually the handling your static value. Why we are handling this static value? Because example, while recording, I'm giving the username as Saravanan, and then I'm recording the script. Okay, I'm recording the script with Saravanan as a input value. While replaying, if I am using the same value Saravanan, that is not real world behavior. Real world behavior is what? Different people will log in into your application with different login credentials, right? So that is the real world behavior. So to mimic the real world behavior, we need to use this parameterization concept, because you cannot use or you cannot hard code the same value again and again in your script. That is not the best practice at all, right? So that is the reason we are using this concept of parameterization is nothing but handling the static value again and again. We should not use the same value in your entire test. We have to use different values, right? Different values, but that data you should have a control over it. That data you should have a control over it. Why I'm saying you should have control over it means the changing parameter, you can change the parameter on your own, which should have some input values, so that every time we are using different input values to mimic the real world behavior. That is what your parameterization meaning itself. Okay, parameterization meaning. Example, in your flow. Okay, in your flow, you are using a search criteria. Example, you are using a search criteria. You think about Amazon website. Okay, you think about Amazon website. You are logging into the Amazon website and you are searching some product. You are searching some product. Example, you are searching about a computer. Okay. Every time, instead of searching the computer, because when you are replaying the script, what will happen? It will replay whatever recorded previously, right? Because the tool is not having any special brilliance and all. The tool will only replay the content, whatever is there in the script, right? So in that case, what you can do, computer like that, instead of searching it again and again, what you can do? You can parameterize the computer value. what you can do, say example, you can parameterize to laptop, mobile, tablet, like that. You can change your input values every time, right? So that concept is actually called as parameterization. Parameterization is nothing but what? Handling the static value, handling the static value. Every time you are going to feed in different input values, instead of using the same value again and again, we wanted to mimic the real world behavior. We wanted to mimic the real world behavior. That is the reason we are using the concept of parameterization. I'll take a pause here, guys. Any question till now, guys? Any question?
No.
No question, right? Okay. Okay. Yeah. So the next concept is actually correlation. Correlation. What is this correlation? Handling the dynamic value in the script. Okay, handling the dynamic value in the script. Handling the dynamic value. What is this dynamic value? See how in the recent days people are developing their website is like a highly secure website, a unique website, like that they are developing it. Example. There is a concept called session management. There is a concept called session management. What is this session management? Whenever, example, I am logging into an application. Okay. Whenever I'm logging into an application, what will happen after the login? There will be a dedicated session ID created for my session. There is a dedicated session ID created for my session. So whatever the activity that I'm doing, that information is stored in that session ID details in the DB. Okay, unless and until I'm not log out of the I have to log out of the application, then only that session ID will become invalid. Okay, if I'm logging out of the application, the session ID will become invalid. Till then, all my informations are stored in the session ID itself. This is one example. Session management is one example. Other than that, there are token logics. In the recent times, people are writing a unique identifier, which is a token logic also. So they call that as basic, NTLM, Kerberos, like that they are using different authentication logic. Okay, basic, NTLM, Kerberos, all these things are actually the authentication logic, which means that what, whenever you are doing an activity, there will be a token generated. That token has to be unique every time, or else your page will not work, your application will not work. That is the logic. Okay, that is a logic. So in that case, example, I am recording one script. Okay, I am recording one script. Okay, step one, step two, like that. The script is actually recorded. The script recorded like this. Step one, step two, step three, step four. Okay. So during the recording, what is happening? During the recording, what is happening? Exactly in the second step. During the recording, what is happening? Exactly in the second step, some dynamic value is actually captured. During the recording, exactly in the second step, some dynamic value is actually captured. Example, it may be session ID, it may be user session ID, it may be CSRF token, it may be XSRF token, it may be any authorization token, guys. Okay, so which means in the second step, some dynamic value is actually captured. Some dynamic value is actually captured during the recording time. During the recording time, some dynamic value got captured in the second step. Okay. Okay, recording is actually completed. We need to validate the script by doing the replay. I'm going to click the replay button. I'm going to click the replay button. That time tool is actually replaying the script. What script it will replay? The same script, right? Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, like that it has to execute, right? That time what will happen? That time what will happen? The second step will fail. Second step will fail. Why? that session ID is an invalid session ID because you already logged out of the system, so that the existing session ID will not work. So that what error message you will get? Invalid session ID, invalid CSRF token, invalid XSRF token. Like that, you will get a failure message when you are trying to replay it, because that is a old. See, the tool will only have the brilliance to record. That's all. Record. That's all. So what tool will do? Whatever the dynamic value that came during this recording time, that session ID will be there in the script. During the replay, it will again replay the same token only. It will again use the same token only, because that is got captured during your recording activity. So in that case, what will happen? The second step will fail. The second step will fail. So that is where we need to write a concept called correlation. We need to write a concept called correlation. What is the correlation means? Handling the dynamic value. Handling the dynamic value. So how to handle it? There is a procedure, guys. Don't worry, I'll explain that. Somewhere in the previous step, because here it is actually going as what? Here it is actually going as what? Request. Here it is going as request. So somewhere in the previous step, okay, somewhere in the previous example, you consider here also one step is their example, okay, step 0 or something, okay. So somewhere in the previous step only, this dynamic value got generated. Probably in the previous steps only, this dynamic value got generated. From there, okay, maybe new, when you are replaying it, there is a new dynamic value that got generated. Means that dynamic value you have to capture. That dynamic value you have to capture, and that newly generated dynamic value has to pass here. This procedure is actually called as correlation, which means that what? Somewhere the dynamic value is actually generated in the previous step in the response body. Usually you have to check it in the response only, okay, because from some response you have to capture the value, and you have to pass it to the subsequent place wherever it is required as an input value. Then only your script will pass. This procedure is actually called as correlation. Correlation is actually very, very simple, guys. Don't worry, I'll explain it in our subsequent session. So where there is a place a dynamic value is actually required, in that place we need to pass the dynamic value, but in different other place the value got generated. We have to capture the dynamic value, stored it into a variable. That variable you have to pass it to the subsequent place wherever it is required. Then only our script will pass. This process is actually called as correlation, handling the dynamic value. Any question, guys, still now? Clear, guys, everybody? Yeah. So all these will help you during your interview time, guys. If you observe like a story, whatever I'm explaining right now, during interview, whatever the combination people are if they are asking the question, you can easily answer to those questions, because this is a procedure. Okay, like a experienced candidate, you can even answer to those questions if you follow these instructions and procedures clearly. Okay. Then once the example, the scripting activity is actually done, test design phase is done. Okay, you prepared a script. Okay, this script acts like what? One user level script only. Whatever you are doing it here is actually one user level. Okay, because you are preparing it in your local machine tool, right? Okay, but the expectation is you need to run this same script for multiple user load. Okay, multiple user load to check your application performance or your server performance, right? So we do something called as test execution is the next step. Test execution is the Next step, test design you are doing, which is a scripting part of it. And then test execution you are going to do. That is where you are going to validate your system performance under various workload. Validate your system performance under various workload condition. Okay, test execution you are doing. These performance testing tool, they are having the capability to simulate like a multiple user. Simulate like a multiple user. Script is one only, one script only, but it simulate like multiple user traffic, 50 user traffic, 100 user traffic, 500 user traffic, 1000 user traffic, like that. It will simulate the traffic. Okay, you have to prepare a script and you have to run the test with multiple user load condition, because that is the requirement your customer will give, right? Customer, what they will say, I am developing a new application. I am expecting in real time, there are 500 users will use my application. There are 1000 users will use my application. There are 5000 users will use my application, like that. If they are giving the requirement, for that requirement condition only you are going to do your test. That is where the execution part is very, very important. The execution part is actually very, very important. You are simulating like a multiple user load condition, multiple user load condition. So example, your test execution, there are different type of test people usually do, guys. Okay, load test. The name of the test is actually load test, and then stress test, and then endurance or soak test. Two names are there. And then scalability test. And then volume test. See, there are few other tests are also there, but these are major. Mostly these are the tests we usually expect. Okay, load test, stress test, endurance test or soak test, scalability test, volume test. You need to know at least definition wise, or what activity that we are doing it in each of the test types, which is very, very important. During the interview, they'll ask like how much strong understanding that you are having it with respect to performance testing. In that case, definition or explanation of these test types are also very, very important. Have you guys heard about these test types before? Anybody heard about this before? Nachi? Okay, Nachi, you are saying yes. You are an existing performance tester with a different tool, huh?
Yes.
Ah, yeah. Okay. Okay. Load test means what? Okay, load test means what? You have to test your application with the expected user load. Expected user. I'm using the keyword only. Test the application with the expected user load. This word, if you are using load test definition, to test the application with the expected user load, that is actually called as load test. Test the application with the expected user load. What is this expected user load? Expected user load is nothing but in production. In production, I'm expecting so and so user load condition. For that load condition, I'm testing it in the QA environment itself, lower environment itself. Okay, that is actually called as load test. Okay, load test. Okay, testing the application with the expected user load. Expected user load is nothing but in production, I'm expecting for so and so user load, they'll come to my application. So for that load condition, I'm preparing myself. So for that, I'm doing a test type called load test, testing the application with the expected user load. Okay. So there are two types of application we usually say. There are two types of application we usually say. One is actually new application, brand new application. Now only we are developing that application. And then existing application. Existing application is nothing but that application is already there in the live usage, real production environment. Okay, in real production environment, that application is already there. So which means that what you are saying, new application and existing application. Okay, in that existing application means what I told you, that application is already there in the production environment, already used by the end users, right? So for those application, it is easy because that is already there in the production, so that you will have a base metrics like how many users are using your application, what usage pattern that your application is having, like that you can easily get it because that is the existing application. So in that case, getting expected user load for existing application is easy, guys. Okay, expected user load for existing application is easy because that application is already there in the production, so that you have a fair understanding about your usage pattern. For that usage pattern, you can do your test. Okay, but for brand new application, okay, this is the interview question, guys. Please understand, this is the interview question. They'll ask like, if it is a brand new application, how will I know the expected user load? If it is a brand new application, how will I know the expected user load? That is the interview question. So in that case, what you need to say is that we need to discuss with the stakeholder, business analyst, all these people, and then we have to discuss and come to an assumption. We have to do certain assumption. This is the expected user load, like that we have to do certain assumption, and based on the assumption only we will do test. That is the answer, guys. Okay, they'll ask like, if it is a brand new application, how will you get to know the expected user load? In that case, we have to say, we have to discuss with the stakeholder, business analyst, and then key people who are the decision maker, right? So discuss with them, understand the application, understand the usage pattern, and we have to do certain assumption. For that assumed number, we are going to do a test. That is where for the brand new application, we are going to do the load test. So usually expected user load, I told you, right? And usually the test duration is actually 1 hour. Test duration is 1 hour. We'll run the test for 1 hour, guys. Okay, 1 hour steady state. Steady state. Okay, so I'm using the word steady state. What is that steady state? I'll tell you. Okay, whenever we are doing a test, we will not just like that run the test with so and so user load. We will use a concept called ramp up, steady state, and then ramp down. Okay, so ramp up means what? Slowly making the user to come inside the system. Example, 100 user you wanted to do the test means people will ramp up the users like 5 user, 10 user, like that. 5 user, 5 user, 5 user, 5 user, or 10 user, 10 user, 10 user, 10 user, like that. So which is actually called as ramp up. Ramp up. Okay, ramp up. And then steady state. Steady state is nothing but you are going to run the test for so and so time. Now I told you 1 hour, right? So that is actually the steady state. So 1 hour you will run the test. You will run the test for 1 hour. And then ramp down. Ramp down is nothing but making the user to go out of the application. Example, 100 users there means 5 user, 10 user, like that. You can ramp down from the system. So usually whatever the duration that we are talking about, it is a steady state only. Don't include the time of your ramp up and ramp down and all in your total duration. No, no. We have to exclude the time that we are spending for ramp up and ramp down. We have to only mention the steady state. So in that case, this load test, we are going to run the test for 1 hour. Okay. Actually, 1 hour is the universal standard people are following. There are organization, okay, there are organization, they are specifically requesting the team to run for 2 hours also, but that is not standard. That is not standard. Very exceptional cases people are doing, but standard is actually 1 hour people are running the load test, okay, testing the application with the expected user load. That is actually called as load test. Load test. The next test type is actually called a stress test, stressing the server. Stressing the server, okay, to check the breaking point of the application. This keyword is important. To check the breaking point of the application. At what point, at what situation our application is completely crashing, our application is completely unable to access, that point we have to validate in the stress testing. Okay, checking the breaking point of the application, to check the breaking point of the application. So you what people will do, they'll run the test with 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, like that. They'll keep on run the test. At a point of time, your application will completely crash. Okay, that point you are identifying. Example, my system will crash by 550 user load, means I will not load my system at any cost. I will not load my system with the 550 user load. Okay, to check the danger point, to check the breaking point, at what point my application will completely crash, like that. You wanted to understand it, means that's where people will do stress test. Okay, stress test they'll do. They wanted to identify and understand at what point our application is actually crashing. Actually, guys, in the recent times, I never seen people are doing this crashing of the system and all. Nobody is interested to crash the servers and all. So instead, what they are doing, they are running the test with 1x, 2x, 3x. That's all. They are stopping the test. 1x is nothing but, load test when you are doing, right? Example, that is a x user load. Okay, that is a x load. Okay, so load test when you are doing, that is a x load. So stress test, what people are doing, 1x, 2x, 3x. 1x already done. The 2x and 3x they are doing. Your application is actually stable for 3x load. They are stopping the test. Okay. Uh, their intention is they don't want to crash the system as such. Instead, they are simply doing 1x, 2x, 3x test, and then they are certifying the application is actually stress testing is actually completed, like that. So stress testing is nothing but checking the breaking point only. Okay, traditionally, if you go back, people used to run the test, run the test, run the test, and they'll identify at which point of time the application is completely crashing, like that. That is a result of the stress testing. But nowadays, nobody is actually willing to do that kind of a test. Instead, what they are doing, they run the test with 1x, 2x, 3x, and then they are stopping the test. They are stopping the test, and they are saying like stress testing is actually completed. This stress testing also people do for 1 hour only. 1 hour. Stress testing duration is also 1 hour steady state. 1 hour steady state, people are running the test. That is actually called as stress testing, checking the breaking point of your application. Breaking point of your application. Any question, guys, still? No? So guys, I think today is the last evaluation day, third day evaluation day. So those who wanted to enroll for this course journey, please reach out to Kumar sir. This is Kumar sir number. I'll copy paste Kumar sir number in the chat, guys. Please reach out to Kumar sir for further information. I mean from okay. Raghu, your question is yes, but I mean I don't know where you are calling that as breakdown test and all, but I never seen people are calling breakdown test, but if that is the case, both are same only. Okay, here also you are checking the breaking point only. Okay, so those who wanted to enroll for this course journey, please reach out to Kumar sir. 9133190573 is the number. From next session onward, only the enrolled learners will be part of the group, guys. Okay. Only the enrolled learners will be part of the group. So those who wanted to enroll for this course journey, please reach out to Kumar sir. Uh, uh, Anything related to course timing, course content, fees related, anything that you want to discuss, you can discuss with Kumar sir. I already mentioned all these sessions are actually recorded, and we will on a daily basis we will share the recorded video in the YouTube playlist URL. And these videos you are going to have it for lifetime access. Okay, you can watch a number of times. You can watch and then come back with your questions. So these videos you are going to have it for lifetime access, guys. Okay, so we already started and started discussing everything, but from next session onward, only enrolled learners will be part of the group, guys. You don't want to miss any topic. You wanted to have a continuous learning. interview related questions, industry best practices and everything, please enroll yourself for the continuation of your learning, guys. Clear, guys? Everybody clear with this?
Yes.
Yeah. So from upcoming section, we'll start our further discussions also. We started up with load testing and stress testing, and remaining test types also we'll cover. And quickly we'll go to the NeoLoad core topics, guys. From the installation, we'll start our learning. Okay. With this, we will complete our session for today. Thanks for the learners who joined today for evaluating us. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. We will continue the same learning in the upcoming sessions as well, like interview preparation questions and industry best practices and everything. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. Thanks all. Bye bye.